Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very, very special WM32 football podcast. And today we are back on our In the Dugout series, where we speak to different coaches and get their experiences throughout their coaching journeys and their coaching lives so far. And I'm delighted to say that I have been joined today by somebody who I personally cannot thank enough for helping me along my journey so far. And that is somebody as well who has their very own coaching business across the pond, not America though, have to say that, in Canada. So I'm delighted to say that Jordan Clements is joining me today. He is the owner and founder of Revolution Soccer, based out in Canada, like I said. Jordan, very, very pleased to have you with us today, and thank you ever so much for joining. So Jordan, just give everybody a little bit of a background in terms of the stuff you do with Revolution.
Yeah, hey Wes, thanks for having me on. It's a great opportunity. So Revolution Soccer, we're a coaching company based out of Niagara region in Canada. And what we do is we offer a variety of different services to local players, clubs, and coaches. Our main predominantly area of work is we go into soccer clubs and coach their house league and recreational players to improve their technical abilities and skills here in North America. So yeah, that's our main bulk of the work. And then we offer different areas such as camps, clinics, tournaments, and one-to-one training, and all those other areas as well on top of that.
No, it sounds brilliant. Sounds absolutely brilliant. Am I right in thinking as well that you have access to roughly 7,000 clients across your various programs as well?
Yeah, so currently week to week we see anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 currently. But over the span, we've probably seen anywhere from 7,000 to 8,000 players across different clubs, teams, coaches, and organisations that we've worked with. So we've seen quite a few different players, and it's growing really fast.
Yeah, no, sounds absolutely brilliant. And obviously those numbers, stack up amongst, probably any coaching company, not just say here in the UK or over, in Canada and the States as well. So give us again a little bit more so how did it all start? Give us a little bit of a background in terms of how Revolution was started.
Yeah, so I went to UCFB, same as Wes. Actually, went to different campuses. I was in the Wembley campus, and originally I started and I wanted to become a football agent. And going to UCFB, I was already coaching. I had a really good coaching mentor. His name was Dave Bishop, down in Crawley, and was fantastic. And I already knew that I had a really good basic understanding and kind of advanced understanding of coaching. And I didn't want to go to university and get further coaching. I wanted to understand the aspects I wasn't maybe so good at, which was the business element. So decided to go to UCFB. And in my first year, I kind of realized that I didn't want to be a football agent. I was working with a couple of agents and just thought, nah, this isn't the right thing for me. So didn't fancy going and working in an academy. And then that summer I was out in Canada visiting family and saw a massive gap in the market. So I came back for my second year, and in my dorm room, I was literally writing up a business plan in Wembley for starting a business here in Canada. And then that summer in 2017, we started our first programs where we were seeing about 50 kids a night. And yeah, it was mainly going to be starting as a summer camp business. We were kind of going to be similar to how Challenger Sports run. So people familiar with Challenger Sports, I know Wes, you worked with Challenger Sports. They go around to clubs and they provide summer camps throughout the summer and through the winter months. They also do tournaments and stuff. So we were kind of based around that, but just higher quality. We felt that we had better coaches and more effective. And then it kind of changed after that first year. My eyes really opened to the opportunity to coach recreational clubs and help them develop their players. Canada is a big ice hockey culture, and there's not a lot of a soccer or football background within that kind of area. So for us, our expertise lie with there because we're able to offer something that they're not. So there's a high a high need for coaches here. So we were able to fill that void and go in and work for clubs and train their coaches, train their players. And from there, we kind of doubled and tripled and expanded really, really quickly.
Oh, it sounds an absolutely unbelievable journey. Starting with, say, like you said, there 50 kids to now, you mentioned earlier about the say 3,000 kids that you are actively sort of seeing. It sounds like an absolutely incredible journey. And I know you mentioned there about you wanting to perhaps be a sports agent or a football agent, and you said that kind of wasn't for you. But then you also had this idea of coaching and things like that as well. So was coaching an avenue, say when you were growing up, for example, that you wanted to pursue, or was it something that you just sort of picked up along the way?
Yeah, I think when I was about 13, 14, my coach for my team, he was coaching a younger team, and I was like, hey, can I help out? And I went to one session, loved it. And then he was probably one of the best coaches I've ever seen. And being around the academy environment at a younger age, he was 10 times better than all my academy coaches then. So to learn off of him was incredible. And yeah, that for me, that was kind of my first little glimpse in it. He actually tried to start his own business, and he was a full-time, I think he drove a forklift, and I was like, why aren't you doing this full time? Like, what is going wrong? And he tried previously and didn't kind of have that business aspect, so it kind of gave me that real emphasis on learning business first. So I always had that base of coaching understanding, and he's always been a great mentor, and he still is today. I still call him on occurrences, and actually now the roles are reversed. I've kind of helped him and encouraged him to start his own business. So that's been really good for me as well. But yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. Saw a bit of an avenue there, and then um, it wasn't my dream, but it's kind of worked out to be an incredible opportunity.
Yeah, no, sounds brilliant. Obviously, as I'm sure as most young kids, especially young boys, all want to be sort of professional footballers. But for
For
some
sure.
reason, one reason or another, it might not always happen. But no, I think from like myself personally, coaching, I think it's a fantastic feeling. You're sort of still involved in the game. You're still in that buzz, kind of that moment of interacting with different people, different kids, and you still get that same camaraderie, I think, that you would do as a player. I'm sure you agree with that.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, definitely, I always think the next best thing from playing is coaching. So yeah, it's definitely been an easy transition.
Perfect. And now, Jordan, with your company, I'm sure you've had to instill some form of a philosophy. How you would want your programs to look, how you as a coach as well would want to be seen and as a coach when you're delivering sessions. So give us again a little bit of an insight into your philosophy, not only with you personally as a coach, but within Revolution as well.
Yeah, so they go hand in hand. Being the founder, I think it's definitely important that your philosophy trickles down. We're very technical focused, so I believe that development's at the heart of it. So we actually don't currently do teams, so they don't play games. We only offer training to clubs and teams and etc. So, with that being said, I will when creating the philosophy, I wanted something that was very tangible that you could see. Yes, if you're teaching a kid how to shoot, maybe you could argue that, yeah, you taught him, but for us, it's very technical. So we teach a lot of skills and a lot of technical ability. So our philosophy is to create players who are comfortable on the ball. So players who once they're on the ball, they know what to do, right? They've got all the tools in their toolbox to do it. It's just down to them to make the decision of what they're going to do. So we install a high intensity technical training in areas like ball skills, 1v1 situations, 2v1 situations, any areas that are going to create an opportunity to be attacking in all aspects. On the more defensive side of it, if you're looking player specific, we also do technical training that's specific to their position. So, every player in my eyes should be able to beat a player 1v1, whether that is a centre back beating a striker to move into midfield. they've always got to have those abilities, and that's important for us. And for us, it's very tangible to see with players that we coach if they're out there doing skills, because it's not taught here. It's not taught to be attacking and to create skills. The very basics are taught, and to win games is taught, but not the flair and the excitement that we try to create with the players that we have coming to our sessions currently.
Now, that's a really, really good insight, I think, not only into your philosophy and Revolution's philosophy, but also a bit of an insight into almost the dynamic and the environment of soccer over in Canada. Like you said there, it's not kind of mainly technical based or anything like that. So I feel like, with your particular philosophy, you're definitely sort of hitting the mark there, and with the players that you work with. And Jordan, as well, you mentioned on a few occasions about the different sort of clubs that you work with at Revolution. Would you say then that your philosophy or any kind of playing styles would be the same across all the different clubs that you work with, or would you say that it would differ club to club that you work with?
Yeah, it's very different here, as in it's all dependent on the coach that's with the team. Some coaches that coach here haven't kicked a ball since they were 4 or 5 years old, which in being born in England is crazy barbaric. They don't watch the game, they don't understand the game. So it's very hard to install a club philosophy. So that's where we come in with our expertise, and kind of we fulfill whatever that need is. And for us, it's not as much as philosophy. The philosophy side of it for the clubs that we work with is to create players who are good enough to play in what we call a travel team here. So there's kind of two separate parts. You've got the recreational side, which is for the fun, and then you've got the travel side, which is for the players who want to go and succeed and want to play in different areas across the region. And so for each club, for some of these smaller clubs that we work with, they struggle to get players interested enough to play in that travel program. So if we're creating their skills and making them good enough to be in that environment of becoming a travel player, and not going out there and losing 25-0 every game because they're such a small town, they don't have a lot of players to pick from, then there's that growth mindset there of the philosophy of the club is that they're growing as a club. So it's more of a kind of like an off-field growth rather than it is like a playing philosophy or style. But naturally, with us being so technical focused and technical based, the coaches don't need so much training in technical. Their tactical side's a bit more effective because they understand how to win games and how to be more effective that side of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, definitely. And I like the fact that as well you're with the dynamic and the setup, I guess, over there, it's more sort of growing the club off the field, as opposed to, yes, there is that development on the field as well, as you mentioned, but it's more of a holistic approach and growing the club as a whole. And Jordan, we've mentioned a couple of times the amount of players that Revolution are working with. Are there any sort of specific qualities in players that you look for? Is it that you look for players that are technically proficient or technically based, or is it the more, say, athletic type of players that you'd say that you would look for?
So across those 2,000 of them, a lot of them we don't accept onto our own programs. A lot of them it's very select when it comes. We focus more towards the technical side, as it's kind of the opposite to North America. North America is seen as very athletic. So if a player can run really fast, I hate saying it, kick really hard, and and they're strong, they're amazing. Well, in my eyes, a player who technically is more gifted is gonna have a higher opportunity to go further with their career over here in North America. So we focus more towards the technical players, and we enjoy coaching those technical players. But in that same aspect, we're not going to turn you away if you're athletic, because we believe that if you're athletic and we're able to build up those technical abilities, well, you're going to become a hell of a player. It's just what age kind of we get there. people don't realize that the difference between like a 8 and a 9-year-old is massive. And then as soon as you go up, it gets harder and harder and harder. So the younger that we're able to get them and to train their minds about how to do these skills and have that technical ability and that technical understanding, the easier it is for them to kind of grow as a player there. But yeah, definitely technical focus for us. I love the technical players that we've got, and got some crazy stories of players that you can just, yeah, it just blows your mind.
Would you care to share at least one little story with us, if you can?
Yeah, sure. So I've got one player. I'm just going to call her C. She'll know who she is. She was 12, and we've been doing a lot of training, a lot of focus on her technical ability. Athletically, she was really, really good. She was in family full of amazing soccer players, so it helped. And there's kind of different tiers here. So she was trying out for the top tier, which is called the OPDL, which is the Ontario Player Development League. So it's played all over Ontario, and that starts when you're 13. So last summer there was no games due to COVID and the pandemic. So for us, we focused just on her technical ability, just making her as sharp as possible, teaching her as many moves, getting her comfortable to be able to perform the moves. And there was one opportunity for a team there was like a kind of off the radar league that was playing within this club. But the problem was it was 15, 16, 17-year-olds, and she was 12. And she's also not the tallest 12-year-old, so she was half the height of everyone else. And I've never seen a player in the first game be so comfortable on the ball. She was flicking it over players' heads. She was nutmegging people. And honestly, the best perception of someone that was just so comfortable on the ball that every time she got the ball, they were so scared to play against her. She was killing people 3, 4, 5 years older than her, and twice the size, because she was 10 times smarter, more effective, technically more gifted, and all around she was absolutely incredible. And for me, that's one of the things that I love to see. And probably as a coach, watching that first game, I remember her dad being next to me, and I was grabbing him in excitement every time she got the ball, and he was in shock because that was the first time that he was seeing her play a game. And obviously, he usually drops her off, doesn't see her for an hour and a half, and then comes back and doesn't see it. And obviously, for me, the best thing is at the start, he was kind of questioning, well, why are you doing this? So, and then when she went up to the 13 age group and she was there, she was too comfortable that she got moved up another age. So she's actually playing a year and a half above herself. And not going to jinx it, touch wood, but a future Team Canada player there for sure in my eyes, if she keeps up that trajectory and that level of training. So that's kind of like one of the stories, and that's just a recent one. And her younger brother is also a incredible player. They come from a great player, and her older brother is as well. I think he's going to go to Toronto and play. So yeah, it's good having that elite side of it. My business partner Matt, he's focused on more high end elite players. I think he had 5 players that went NCAA D1 last summer that he was coaching. So again, it just shows that kind of whatever happens, people follow quality. And we did this with no marketing either. So if we're bringing those sort of players in without any marketing and in the smallest region, now we're starting to expand more. Those quality of players are there, and it's great. It's great to see.
Yeah, what a fantastic story that is, and credit to not only yourself but obviously everybody at Revolution for getting a player, developing at that particular rate, and also I think it's quite a brave decision to put that particular player in. As you said there, she's playing with 16, 17-year-olds. She's half the size of them, but credit to you guys for her being sort of so comfortable. But I think you picked up on you made an interesting point there about the parent. So I just wanted to pick your brain and like, how important do you feel parents are in being involved in the process of a child's footballing development?
Yeah, massively important. Massively important. I think it's a commitment to them. It's kind of a culture shift compared to England. Like everyone in England believes their kid is going to become a professional football player. Everyone thinks, oh, they're going pro, they're playing academy, they're doing this, they're doing that, and that's kind of the mindset there. Whereas here, it's not that. They don't see the opportunity there. They think playing hockey and they're the same, but in the hockey aspect. So the culture's not the same. The commitment's not the same. So in England, your parents are, as my mum and dad, like, where are you? It's 7 o'clock. You've gone out since you come in from school at 3:30, and all you've done is gone and played football every single day. Like, where are you? What are you doing? So whereas here, there's not that environment to do that. There's a lot of different sports that take place. There's a lot of different opportunity there, but it's that professional era isn't the target or isn't the goal. There's not a lot of people there. We have obviously Toronto. We've got a CPL league now, which is very new in the works, and the quality isn't there at all for players to be attracted to. And there's no real pyramid system, so there's no real promotion relegation within youth. It's fun or it's competitive. So there's not that need or want to grow or build. There's, you could lose every game and finish last and you're still in the same position. It's kind of like the playoffs with the MLS. It's exactly the same. Here, there's not that competitive nature, right? And also there's not that draw of opportunity there, right? We're always, there's one or two that love it and their goal is to get a scholarship to the States. It's not to go pro. So parents hold a key opportunity in that. Again, the opposite thing as well is the cost of it here is very expensive. If you want to play high end football here, you pay more. Whereas in England, if you want to play at the higher levels, you pay nothing or less. So it's kind of like the scales are opposite here. So, there is a barrier to entry to that top level, right? And as we know, players who generally come from tougher backgrounds are generally the people who emerge, or there's an opportunity for them to emerge more. Well, that's the barrier of entry because they can't play in that league at the top. So it's kind of dumbing down the league and it's not helping the development of any players. So, there's a lot of systems and especially the governing body here need to kind of look into and areas that there's a lot of improvement that needs to be taking place over here. But yeah, it comes from the parents and the culture. If the culture starts to change, we've got a World Cup coming up in 2026. If that mindset shifts towards soccer, then I'm hoping it's just gonna ball roll and snowflake and compound all the way across.
Yeah, no, I think that's quite interesting because I think not very many people would know like the state of the culture, like you said, regarding say football and soccer out in Canada and even the US to a certain degree as well. And I know myself personally, I'm very excited by that particular World Cup in 2026. Obviously the US team they've got a very good young crop of players coming through at the moment, so they should all be kind of in and around their prime by that particular time, and hopefully that snowball effect will hopefully go into Canada as well, and Jordan as well. At that top end, we've seen a lot of these players that are now in the US national team. A lot of them are coming over to Europe and doing it at quite a young age as well, sort of between that sort of 16 to 19 age bracket. Do you envisage more players like that? Likes of Josh Sargent, Weston McKennie, obviously Alphonso Davies has moved to Bayern Munich at quite a young age, and there's definitely more like Tyler Adams and players of this ilk. Do you see more of that sort of thing happening in the lead up, certainly to the World Cup?
Yeah, you've got the academy settings in Europe, right? There's a real academy with a philosophy, with a pathway, right? There's not that pathway here. It's kind of run by private academies. TFC Academy, they play against the players that they take the players from, so it doesn't make any sense. So it's yeah, they have to. I'm always saying to players, hey, we've got to go. Like once there's a core group of players that's good enough, the first place I'm sending them is England and Europe and Germany and Holland. I played with a player, Theo Corbonaro, who actually scored on his Canada debut. He went to I believe it was Genk in Belgium, played there, and then moved to Wolves, and he actually got his first Premier League appearance this year. And I played with him here in Canada. So again, that opportunity is there. It's just the pathway is slightly different. Like, we have to take players from Canada and go to somewhere like Belgium or Holland or those kind of, I would say, mid-tier countries where they're not top leagues. Let them establish themselves, and then bigger clubs will take them. So it's kind of like there's an extra barrier of entry, just because Canada doesn't have the established academy playing league or playing standards there for players. So, you know, as long as they're a good player and they've got the work ethic and they've got and they're in the right places, then there's gonna be opportunity for them wherever they go. Right? It's just finding those opportunities for them and placing them in the right place. What you've also got to remember, here in Canada, soccer is predominantly played by girls. There's more girls players than boys players. So the pathway for girls is very different. And now with the WSL, that's a massive opportunity here. Like, Canada's always has a really good women's league. The Ontario Women's Soccer League is a fantastic league. Their promotion relegation, they're run fantastic, and they've had the most amount of Canadian players coming through than any other league. So again, there's that kind of opportunity for girls, and boys, again, they're probably going to have to go to somewhere like Europe to be able to get that development. Whereas the women, they can play in the American USL League, the WSL, I think it is, and grow and build from there. So again, the opportunities slightly differ, but there's still that, I think, especially for the boys side of it, if they don't want to go to college and that route, they have to go to Europe, and they have to be in Europe at a good age as well. They can't be too old, because there's not that sponge enough to learn quick enough about how soccer's played.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really, really good point as well. And you know, I know you mentioned there about the opportunities being there. It's just a case of, you know, obviously putting players there and getting them seen, and that's something that I've found certainly over here in England, with the coaching that I do myself. I think there's a lot of talented players certainly in the area that I'm working in Milton Keynes, but it's just about getting those players those opportunities and getting them seen by relevant people. So yeah, no, when you mentioned that, I completely understood sort of where you was coming from, and I think it was quite good to know the differences as well between the female setup, say in North America and in Canada, compared to the male setup and the boys setup as well. So Jordan, with your coaching hat on, once again, you know, are you looking to gain any more sort of coaching qualifications at all, or are you happy at sort of the level that you're operating at as a coach?
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy at the moment where I am. In the future, I'm kind of unsure yet which path to take. So just an overview, we have like 15 members of Revolution coaching staff currently. We've got full-time members, and then we've got part-time seasonal members as well to it. And all of those have their coaching qualifications. I've got 3 or 4 coaches with UEFA Bs, and quite a few with good levels here in Canada. So for me, I currently do minimal training sessions, or if the training sessions I'm doing, it's more on the fun and the under 4s, 5s and 6s. So the utilization of a UEFA A for a 4, 5, 6 program where there's 150 kids may not be as effective. And also, as we're not in the play-in side of it, so we're not focusing on building teams and those teams going up leagues and playing, it's not really a need. Is it a want? Yeah, I think down the line, I'm definitely going to want the opportunity maybe to potentially go into that professional environment. Once I've got Revolution up to where I really like it, I think there's an opportunity maybe there I can transition across into maybe a pro Canadian team. Would be probably my only kind of focus, or a Division 1 college team in the US once we expand to the US. So again, that's my coaching hat, but that's very, very long term. I enjoy kind of the other side of it. I enjoy, seeing my coaches develop and helping them with their development and where they kind of want to grow, and where we need to focus on with them individually in ensuring that our philosophy, like we were talking about earlier, is really nailed into them, and they believe that philosophy works, and any sort of misconceptions they have about it are kind of gone straight away. So that's for me a very important area, and I think more important than me personally getting my coaching qualifications.
Yeah, no, that's quite interesting. Obviously, speaking to coaches in the past, there are some that do want to, maybe develop and that get some UEFA style qualifications, but there's also some that are happy at the level that they're currently at, and they kind of see coaching as a bit of a side thing as opposed to wanting to do it full time.
Yeah.
So Jordan, with your more business head on, I guess, now, what do you feel like? Obviously, you mentioned there you got 15 members of staff. What do you feel like could be done to maybe help those or coaches in general develop that little bit further?
So our coaches, I think the development that we do, we're trying to bring everything kind of in-house now. So we're trying to do actually our own coaching qualifications. So we're creating our own curriculum for these coaches to be able to develop and grow. But I would suggest is pick a focus. For us, we have different kind of compartments of the business. Obviously, we have like one-to-one training. We have more like small group training as well. We have very specialized camps and clinics. That's kind of like one area that they could all be over. So that sort of coaching, you're going to want to focus on those areas. If you're a one-to-one coach, it's very different than I do predominantly the bigger sessions. So I do like our mini kicker session where we have 100 to 200 players at once, and it's just myself there. So with those sessions, that's very different coaching needs and expectations than it is on a more focused, specialized group. So it's kind of picking that niche of, okay, what are you going to be good at? How are you going to be good at it? And how are we going to be the most effective? So if you're looking at one-to-one sessions, what is the area that you're focusing on one-to-ones, right? Is it, I know you like yourself, position specific, we do again more technical. So we focus on technical skills and ability. We also kind of look a bit like Jonah one-to-one, if anyone's familiar with them. With our one-to-one sessions, they're always very creative, very advanced, very high intensity. So again, our coaches need to learn that. Now, if we overload them with learning the one-to-one side and also the other side, it gets crossed over. So for us, we try and specialize, get our coaches to specialize in an area. All right, if they get really good at that area and they're really consistent and it becomes like riding a bike and second nature, then of course we can start transitioning across into the other aspects of it and the club side of it. How are we managing clubs? What do we need to look for? How do we improve player development? So for us, with our different compartments, it's really good, but it's just focused, right? Like you are a club service coach. You are a Revolution Center coach, which is one of the areas that we've just introduced. But you are a Revolution Center coach. You are a camp coach. So those are the areas that we have to kind of focus on individually, and then from there just keep moving forward and growing.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. That's brilliant answer. And I like the idea of having those kind of specialist coaches for the different aspects of the different programs that you run as well. And I think that's something, me personally, I'm definitely looking into doing as well. With the mini kicker sessions, would I have, say, a coach that is really, really good at working with those specific age groups, and then with the one-to-ones that we do, it might be, okay, you just focus on becoming the best individual coach or one-on-one coach that you can be. So no, I think that's a really, really good way of looking at it. And Jordan, what advice then would you give to young coaches that might be listening or wanting to maybe work for you one day? Who knows? But what advice would you give to any sort of young coach, maybe here across the pond or a wider net?
Yeah, it's kind of double-edged sword. You don't know everything. Don't act like you know everything. And there's nothing new under the sun. So like whatever you think that you're going to do, someone else has already done it. So if you can find those people who've already done it, see where they did really well and maybe implement or slightly change it, that's where you're going to be most successful. So I just say keep emulating. There's so many things that you can watch, that you can take little bits from. Everyone's learning each day with their coaching. You should never ever not be learning. So just keep learning, and have a bit of confidence in reaching out to people and speaking about opportunities there. And don't be afraid to go and do it for free. Trust me, the first 2 years of running this business, I didn't pay myself a penny. So again, you've got to do things for free. You've got to build those relationships, that network, and those player bases, and then you can start charging people and growing and building. So do things for free. Free is the best way to do anything. If you want to learn something, go and ask a coach, hey, can I just come and follow you around with water? And anytime you want water, I'll squirt in your mouth. Literally the most simplest thing in the world. And the coach isn't going to go, well, yeah, because, if someone said that to me, I'll be like, sure, buddy. Guess what? I'm going to ask you to pick up some cones as well. I'm going to ask you maybe what you thought about this, why you thought it was good. Right? It's honestly that simple. So just have it to reach out to as many people as possible. For us, our opportunities, we do work very closely with UCFB. So if you're a UCFB student, you will be seeing a lot of us. Outside students at the moment, feel free to reach out to myself through either Instagram or any other kind of platform. I'll happily talk to you and help you. And then secondly, coaches who are looking to start their own business. I know I've been working with Wes quite a bit, but we are looking to in the future, or myself personally, create kind of a coaching mentor program to help new coaches and current coaches grow and build their businesses, and making sure them as effective as possible and grow their business, grow their reputation, and hopefully grow their wallets as well, and their bank accounts alongside that, and also be giving back as much as possible. So yeah, if you potentially are interested in that, it's something that we're looking to roll out pretty soon. Hopefully by the end of summer, maybe September, October start, and go from there.
No, sounds absolutely brilliant. Yeah, as I mentioned at the start, obviously you've helped me massively and open my eyes 100% to a whole new side of say what I'm doing, and things that I'd never even thought of before. And I think any conversation that I've had with you has always been very, very thought provoking, and I'm always there like, oh man, why didn't I think of that? So yeah, obviously massive thank you to you for all the help that you've given me. And lastly, Jordan, what is kind of the next steps now for Revolution and for yourself going forward?
Yeah, so we've just introduced a new revenue stream, a new program, which is called the Revolution Center. So with all these kids that we see at different clubs, we've decided that we want to create kind of like a development center for ourselves. So we've actually got 2 site locations that are just starting up now. We're looking at having probably about 280 players across the both, so 140 players across both. We've changed it into a more year-round program, and it's focused towards technical development through Revolution. So with our new partnership, which we're announcing in January, with a sports brand, with a sports brand, we are honing in on our own programs and working with as many players who want to be there as possible. So that's kind of next step for us. Also growing our club base. We're already talking to about 8 to 10 clubs, with eyes to expansion into new markets and new areas. So we're expecting to be in kind of 3 or 4 new markets by next summer. And those markets, our business model is going to stay the same, and we're just going to keep building and growing, and hopefully it's just going to keep compounding, and we can start going to new countries with kind of what we're offering and our partnerships and coaches, and keep growing from there. Really, that's kind of our next step. And this year we're hoping to see about 3,500 kids a week this year. That's our goal. Currently here we're not open, so yesterday was the first day that you could kick a ball on a field. So we're actually starting next week all of our programs, so we're excited to get back out there and get going and grow as much as we possibly can.
Yeah, no, sounds absolutely brilliant. And I like the idea of the Revolution Centre as well. Sounds really, really exciting. But guys, that is it for us for today. It just leaves me with one thing left to say, and that's an absolutely massive thank you to Jordan at Revolution Soccer for taking time out of his day today. We hope that everybody enjoyed it. I know I certainly did, picking Jordan's brain. I've spoken to him a lot over the last sort of year, and it's been great to again pick his brain once again. And this particular video will be on YouTube, so make sure you like this video, comment your thoughts in the comment section, and make sure that you are subscribing to the YouTube channel as well if you are new. And this will also be on Spotify, so give us a follow on there at WM32 Football. And as well, don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms. So that is Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, where you can get more access to different content and the sessions that we provide as well. So at WM32 Football for those. Jordan, thank you ever so much for your time. Take care, stay safe across the pond, and hopefully we will see a little bit more of you delivering sessions and things like that soon.
Thanks, Wes. Thanks for having us.
Not a problem.